But
actually, to do with the pills on the shelf, there's also a tendency in arm wrestling to take painkillers to even before a match in order to not feel or not hear the signals the body's telling. And that, what were your thoughts on what you could do about pain management that's more healthy?
Infrared sauna. Infrared saunas are great for helping inflammation complete the inflammation cycle. Inflammation isn't necessarily a bad thing. So if you have like micro tears in your muscles or your tendons or anything, a little bit of inflammation, good. And then it's supposed to complete the cycle, making you stronger, right? So when you get stuck in an inflammation cycle though, right? Was it? Oh,
I can hear some kind of boring.
Oh yeah, they're changing tires over there.
Oh, okay.
Work going on the farm.
Right. So yeah, so inflammation cycle is good. I've wondered about this because there's been such a tendency to put ice on inflamed areas, and I was thinking the body's actually a very intelligently created thing, and perhaps there's a reason for these inflammation stages.
Yes, of course, and it's again, it's more when you're just stuck in the middle and it's not healing, right? So that's chronic. It's called chronic inflammation. Whenever something happens for a long time, so there's acute inflammation, there's like full complete inflammation. Like just think if like the most common example I give is if I actually just sort of cut my skin, it would get red, be inflamed, and then it would go down and it would heal. Great. If I just did like a light cut, right? So that happens on the inside of our bodies, but a lot of times it gets stuck in the red puffy part, and it doesn't complete the cycle. And again, it's because we're having inflammatory agents come into our body, right? That holds it there.
Okay. What are these inflammatory agents?
So the most common ones are what we call the 4 white devils. Okay. The 4 white devils are white flour, white pasteurized dairy. Okay. So like white milk, white sugar, and white salt. So a salt that doesn't have like a grayish or a purplish hue to it. So if you have like a Himalayan salt or a Celtic sea salt, you'll see it's like gray or purpley, and that's because it has all the minerals still attached to the salt molecule too. It's more of a whole food. But anytime you take anything and you have those things in isolation, right, and it's just pure white, it's void of any nutrition, right?
Okay.
And it creates inflammation in the body, right? Like my sister's a good example, chronic inflammation. She loves going and getting her morning croissants all the time. And she knows it, right? She knows it. God bless her, right? But I'm her baby brother. So, even though I know she says, I know you know your stuff, but I got to hear it from someone else. I'm like, okay. Yeah. You were talking about them taking like things like aspirin preemptively, like before the match, so that they wouldn't
ibuprofen,
while they're pulling. Yeah, again, it's a common practice with anything, especially like high intensity strength sports, right? It's a preemptive thing that you do, especially if perhaps you're a little older and your joints are worn down a little bit, and you haven't been doing the 5 fundamental principles of maintaining a healthy body, like for sure, right? So there's a great book, and anyone who's watching should read something called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price. It totally quantifies the physical degenerative state of the human being in today's world, and totally links it to nutritional practices. There's more to say on that book, but I'll just quickly sum it up by saying it was written in the 1930s, and this was a very good time to do a study like this. So he went around the world to all the continents, and this is where there were still tribes living off of the land on their native diets, and also the same people, so relatively the same genotype, were also introduced to those 4 white devils that I was talking about. And within
those are
one
black fingers.
I started the barbecue. While we were on break, I started the barbecue, so I got it going, right? And
4 white devils.
Yes, I know, right? I'm doing a wood smoked brisket, grass fed, grass finished, right? But yes, and within one generation, he saw, it doesn't matter what continent he went to, either within one generation, their especially their facial physical structures started to change, but all sorts of degenerative things that we know as degenerative disease now started to happen and escalate within that time period, within one generation. And the people that stuck with the native foods of the land didn't have any of it, and they had perfect teeth. They had perfect teeth. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. But humans are screwed up physically, and we think it's just, oh, it's too bad that you have that, or like you have those genetics, or whatever. No. Genetics are not set in stone. They're like a piano keyboard. It depends on how you play them and which ones you choose to express through your actions, right? So this is called epigenetics, and this is really it sucks, and it is great at the same time. It sucks because now you know that you are not just the recipient of disease most of the time, right? So now you have that information, right? But it's great for the same reason. Now you have that information, and now you can make better choices. But you can't rely on just saying, "Oh, I've got this."
You have to take responsibility.
Yeah, sometimes you're going to be a little bit more predisposed to something, but you can totally avoid it completely if you just live